You never mention how Americans and Western people in general hate hate communists because Mao killed 20 millions somewhere over there in China, and Stalin killed millions somewhere over there in Russia or in Soviet Union. And therefore, let's go and kick some communists' asses, let's kill communists. They starve to death millions of people, and even if you talk about Nazis was socialist and they was all bad, they was also communists, therefore, like, so what? What it's to you, actually, to American people in general and to British people, for example, who never consider, of course, Nazi Germany as socialist or left-wing people. So what it's to you? What in this to you, personally, American people? Why you want to go and kill commies? It's not that you don't want commies in United States and you can stop there. No, instead you think that Pinochet was right and, I don't know, let's go and kill commies in Korea, Vietnam, I don't know, Africa, Middle East, Latin America. It's not that you're protecting yourself at all. It's not about you at all. But somehow, in your perception, it's commies are bad, while you have no idea what is there bad or not. Some dude wrote a book about it, therefore it's supposed to be true. Some other dude said something and there are like couple hundred, maybe couple thousand people like that. Yet there is like 1.3 billion Chinese people who, thanks to Mao idea, which not exactly socialism, I don't even know how it's related to socialism. Thanks to Mao's idea, 1.3 billion of Chinese people raised from the total poverty to, well, half of them to a decent life and other half, well, in some shape or form to at least somewhere from the straight up dirt. At the same time we see the India, previously British colony, where no socialism, no communism, everything was left just as it was when the British walk away, let's say. And in the same time we see the same levels of poverty, the same levels of indoctrination in society, we see the same things over and over. Again, we see Soviet Union build country from the scratch after World War I, which they was part of, and after World War II, when country suffered tremendous, absolutely horrific, I don't know, tremendous is a good thing or not, absolutely horrific consequences. And yet, country was rebuilt from the scratch, people was, well, the standard of living was pretty good, and when the whole world lived through the crisis, people in USSR didn't even know that there in the world somewhere is crisis happening. And as vice versa, and don't forget, of course, about all the Warsaw Pact countries like Bulgaria, Hungary, Slovakia from Czechoslovakia, of course Yugoslavia, pretty much all Yugoslavia in today's world. It was not only pretty good, it was good countries, very successful countries, and very let's say successful countries. They achieved a lot, etc. Once USSR ceased to exist, all those countries become shitholes. Each and every republic of USSR become a shithole country, including Russia. And in this case, I have a big question about the logic about it. First of all, why you even care? It's not happening in your country, it's not happening in your land. There is nothing about BLM is about communism at all, like literally nothing in common with communism. It absolutely doesn't matter what people call themselves. I can call myself whatever, and what now? You believe me right away just because you want to? And before that, why you run around the world creating coups, creating wars just to beat communist SS? For why? Why do you care? Fine, let's say in 1990s when so many bullshit was spit on the graves of communists in order to condemn communism. Fine, I can at least relate to that. But before that, in 50s, in 60s, why this idea about good commie is a dead commie even come to your mind? That's simply silly, let's say. And it's the first thing. And the second thing, time and time again, history proves us that at least people who, let's say, not purchase, but how to say it, not persuade, people who persuade some kind of communist ideology eventually won, eventually lead the country to the greater success. And once this idea is abandoned, immediately country fell apart and become a shithole, just right away. And not a single example of vice versa. When country abandons socialism and literally right away become a greatest country in the world, or at least successful country. There is no such example. Every Latin American country that previously was in some shape related to socialism, eventually, when turning capitalism, become a shithole. Whole Western Europe become a shithole. Asian republics of previously that was Soviet republics. Every country is a shithole, etc., 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 and continuously it's going on and on and on. Look at Vietnam, where they abandoned communism and become the capitalist country, and what they're now, a shithole. Thailand, a shithole. What country is transferred from the socialism to capitalism and become successful? There is no such country in the world. This whole idea, and American people don't even, Western people in general don't even question themselves why they hate communists so much and why they do not hate Japanese so much. Japanese that literally killed American people, on American ground, on American soil, and yet you're riding a Toyota, Honda, Mazda, you using Sony, you playing PlayStation and watching Japanese TV and using Japanese computers and smartphones, etc. Why no hate for Japan? They literally killed American people on American land. Why no hate for the right-wing ideology like Nazism, when those people in Europe literally killed a lot of people? But instead, the hate pointed toward the communists since 1950s. Why? Why? What communists did to you? It's not about the greater good of humanity. Bullshit. It's not about that at all. Have nothing in common. Why Americans constantly hate communists? For what? That communists in some shape or form put the borders of USSR too close to American military bases that rattling around the world? Why? This question must be asked by American citizens, by the conservative American citizens, by pro-nationalist conservative citizens. Why you hate commies and why you don't hate Japanese? While commies did absolutely nothing to American people and Japanese literally killed them on American soil. And yet, why? There is no answer at all.